Hi, my name is Derek Ortiz, and just like you, I am fascinated about Japanese maples and conifers. This right here is my emerald sunset, and it's dead. The cause for its death was overcare. 95% of the time that people have problems with their plants or with their trees is due to overcare. Overcaring can be as harmful as undercaring, and at times it looks the same. But how can you identify? This is the reason why I'm remaking this video. I posted a video that talked about 3 common mistakes that people do with their Japanese maples and conifers, but I didn't realize about my camera movement and was making people dizzy. In this video, I'm going to talk about water, sun, and fertilization of your Japanese maples and conifers. And at the end of the video, I'm going to add one bonus item that I believe it should be added to this video. One, let's cover water. Japanese maples and conifers, just like every other living organism, needs water to survive. Overwatering your trees can be detrimental to the plant's health due to creating an anaerobic condition in the soil. Anaerobic bacteria starts to strive, and anaerobic bacteria attacks the root system of the tree. Therefore, the root system starts to rot. Aerobic bacteria, in the other hand, they form partnerships with the root system of the tree and contribute to the overall health of your Japanese maple. And it is why I only water my Japanese maples or my conifers when they need it. And the way that I use to find out if they need water or not, it's simple. My finger, stick it in there. Dig the soil, right? Go deep. And you should feel the soil in your hand, right? Press on it. If it's dry, water your trees. If it's not, if you feel humidity, you rub your fingers in your hand and you feel humidity, if it's wet, do not water your trees. It's that simple. There's a difference between growing a Japanese maple in the ground and in the pot. In the ground, you do not need to water as much as in a pot. And that is because of the available supply of water in the ground is much greater than the one in a pot. Basically, this tree right here is encased in a piece of plastic. There's no way for the roots to expand past what you're giving them. And it is why you need to water your trees in a pot a lot more than the ones in the ground. The ones in the ground, the root system digs down and look for that water, versus here, it only has a limited space. But that doesn't mean that you get to water this tree every day. You need to consider the temperature, the climate, where you're at. There's a whole lot of factors that you need to consider in order to make a decision whether you need to water this tree every day or not. Depending how hot, the water may evaporate within 24-48 hours, and you may need to water this tree again. When the climate is cool, you do not need to water this tree every day, every 2 days, or even every 3 days. That decision ultimately is your decision, and I cannot tell you when you should water the tree. You should be able to know when your tree is due for next water. When you water your trees, you need to consider that most of the air is going to escape. And it is when you water this tree, it is the reason why you see all those bubbles coming out from the top of the pot and from the drain holes. Now, as the water starts to evaporate, air starts coming in the root system, and you have a constant flow. As you water, air starts to escape, right? And now you have a low level of air, high level of water. If you let that water dry, the air starts coming in and water starts to evaporate. And you need to keep that constant flow of water to air ratio. This plant needs that flow in order to survive, and they depend on you to make the right decision for them. If you are constantly overwatering your plants, the air is going to stay in the low level, and anaerobic bacteria strive here. If you're constantly doing this to your plants, providing that water to air ratio, aerobic bacteria strive. And aerobic bacteria is what you want right here. So I hope that now you understand how to water your trees. There is a misunderstanding out there in the plant community that says do not water your trees in the middle of the day because the droplets will form a magnifying effect that will burn your leaf. Guys, that is a myth. How in the world would that happen? You cannot burn the leaf with water because water will not let it burn in the first place. And water, yes, water do forms a magnifying effect, but because it's water, it will not burn. Try it yourself. Try to burn something that is wet. It just doesn't happen, right? It first evaporates and then burns. But if the water evaporates, it no longer forms a magnifying effect. Now, if that were true, you would see all over the news of trees being burned and lawns being completely decimated because it rained and immediately the sun came out. That is a myth. In fact, I water my trees a lot at around 1 to 3 p.m. when the sun is just hitting them. And it is beneficial for them because it cools them down. It gives them a break to continue throughout the day. Now, the problem comes when you water your trees very late in the evening and those water droplets do not dry. That, my friend, is an invitation for fungi and disease. This tree right here, for instance, that, my friend, are not water droplets that burn my tree in the middle of the day. That, my friend, it is due to water, but it is because I water my trees late in the evening because of my work, and it is okay. It happens. Now, this is a disease. This disease is called Philostigma. Now, even though that Philostigma is a disease, it is not a serious threat most of the time. The only way that this disease becomes a serious threat is if I am having the same problem with the same tree year after year. If you see these on your trees, do not freak out. You'll be fine. Cut back on the watering late at night. If you can avoid to get the follicles wet late at night, even better. But sometimes you just can't. You work all day, you come home very late, and the only window of opportunity for you to water your trees is just late. It's okay. Now there are things you can do to prevent Philostigma. While you water late at night, avoid getting the follicles wet and only water the bottom of your tree. There isn't a chemical out there that you could put in this plant and it will erase that from your plant. The damage is done, it's burned. It's not going to erase, it's not going to come back out alive. That's it. It's done. What you need to do is prevent further damage. You can prevent getting the follicles wet and just wait. You need to be patient. Those leaves eventually are going to drop and the tree is going to form new leaves. So you do not need to mix baking soda with dishwashing soap and throw it in the tree, although dishwashing soap does have a benefit, and I'll talk about it in a later video. But you do not need to do that. Okay, the damage is done. The only thing that you can do for this tree is stop getting the follicles wet late at night. Guys, I recommend for you to water your Japanese maples early in the morning, because throughout the day, that water in the follicles is going to dry out and it will not cause any harms to your Japanese maples. Well, I think I cover water, and I hope that you have a much better understanding on how to apply water to your Japanese maples. Now, let's talk about sun. Sun is important for your Japanese maples. Your Japanese maples are like solar powerhouses, right? They're powered by the sun. These leaves are like solar panels. They absorb the sun, create sugars that the plant needs in order to keep growing. Now, although the sun is important for the overall health of your plants, not all plants are resistant to full sun. And the way to find out if your plant is resistant to full sun or not is by doing a research online, and you can find information on all your plants. When you buy your Japanese maples, your online nursery should have available information about plant tolerance to sun. If not, you can also try by trial and error. Put your plant outside in the sun and see how it reacts to it. If it doesn't like it, pull back on it, all right? Most Japanese maples thrive in early morning sun and late afternoon shade, but some Japanese maples can resist full sun. Now here in zone 8 alpha, the mix with the sun, the heat, the humidity, and the wind can burn some of the follicles, so you need to consider that with your Japanese maples. Now let's cover fertilizer. This is the number 2 common mistake that people do with their plants and their trees. And the reason is because psychologically they believe that if they apply more fertilizer, their trees are going to magically grow more and be more beautiful and speed up its growth process. Guys, stop. Japanese maples like to grow slow, and just like a production line, if you speed up the process, the quality of the branches and the leaf is just not going to be there. What you're gonna get is deformed growth, and let me show you that. That is deformed growth. Deformed growth. Deformed growth. Look at that, deformed growth. And when you get deformed growth, you're going to make a much weaker plant and so much less resistance to the elements. Most likely, I will have diebacks on the tips of this tree. Therefore, you're not really speeding things up. You are actually slowing them. So yes, I made that mistake. I bought a fertilizer a little bit too high on the nitrogen level, and I need to get something lower. I also learned the hard way that by going low on fertilizer is much better than going at the recommended rate. Guys, what I recommend is for you to go half the recommended rate in the bag. I also recommend a slow release fertilizer. Now, there's also a common mistake with slow release fertilizer. They think that because it's slow release, the fertilizer is just gonna slowly be released into the root system. So they can throw a little bit more than the recommended rate and the tree will be fine. Guys, that is a myth. If you put a lot of fertilizer here, yes, it will slowly release that fertilizer, but it will slowly release a lot of fertilizer. Therefore, you're damaging your plant. Do you need to fertilize your trees? And the answer to that is simple. You really do not need to fertilize your trees. The soil has enough organic material, and as it decomposes, nitrogen will become available through the plant through composting. Now, composting is usually 1-1-1. 1 nitrogen, 1 phosphorus, and 1 potassium, and that is enough for the plant to thrive. So guys, what I do recommend as far as fertilizer is nothing more than a 10 on the nitrogen level. The fertilizer that I use on my plants was a 12, and I use at the recommended rate, and I'm having problems with my trees. My next application of fertilizer will not be a 12. It would be a 10 or an 8, and I will apply at half the rate as the recommended application. So guys, I hope this covers fertilizer. Now in this video, I cover water, I cover sun, and I cover fertilizer. And I am going to add one bonus item, which is soil. The soil that you use on your Japanese maple is very important because some soil holds a lot of water and others don't hold at all. Now, for instance, this tree, when I bought this tree, I bought it in October of last year. When I repotted this tree, I put potting soil on it. Potting soil is a big no-no when it comes to your Japanese maples and conifers. And that is because potting soil holds a lot of water, and it is why this tree died on me. Through research online, I immediately learned a good, effective, and cheap recipe to make your own Japanese maples and conifer soils. And I am going to make a small video for you guys to watch right now. Hey Maple Nuts, I'm here and I'm gonna make some soil at a low scale just for that 1 gallon pot that you see right there. And these are the materials that I used. I get the fine pine bark. It has to be the mulch, guys. It has to be the mulch. If not, then you're gonna have to use a wood chipper to mulch your nuggets. The perlite and the peat moss right there, okay? That was about $20. This is about $4. That's $5 right there. So guys, you can make a whole lot of those bags with that one bag, all right? I'm gonna fill this with what I believe. And guys, I'm eyeballing this. And guys, eyeball it. Don't overcomplicate this stuff, because if you overcomplicate it, then it's not fun anymore and you're probably not gonna do it, all right? So just eyeball it, make it fun. I think that's full right there. Just gonna add about that. And guys, with this stuff, you don't want to breathe this stuff, all right? Except if you're me, because I'm a savage. I don't care. I think that's good. All right, guys. So what I'm gonna do is, this is my pot right here. I gotta get. All right. Bam. Look, little bit of potting or of the peat moss, right? A bit of the peat moss right there. Mix it. Add the perlite. And voila, guys, this is it. That is soil for Japanese maples and conifers, actually. Check this out. Obviously, I overfilled this stuff, but boom. Okay, now, do you guys want to test it? Let's do that. Put it right there. Sorry guys, I had some technical difficulties with my camera, but here it is. Look at it. Look at it draining. Just drain out, right? Look at that. Guys, that is exactly what you want. You want your water to just drain, okay? And trust me, this soil works. My God, I have so much to prove that it works, all right? And it works with conifers. Look, same soil, guys, on my conifers. Look, my skyline. Look at this beautiful skyline on the same soil that I make, okay? It works for Japanese maple. You guys have seen my Japanese maple. They're all healthy. That works, my guys. It works. So guys, with that, I'm gonna let you go. So guys, bye. I hope that now you have learned to make your own soil. Those items that I use are fairly cheap and readily available in a big box store. I use that soil because it is effective. It drains well. It has organic material in it. It has everything that your plant needs to thrive. No, you do not need to buy super expensive soil that is made for Japanese maples. Guys, do not fall for that trap. You do not need to spend a fortune on soil when you can make it yourself for cheap. Guys, I hope that my video was useful for you and that now you have a better understanding on how to care for your Japanese maples. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. And if you have any recommendations, please put them in the comments below. I will be posting links to my Facebook group where you can share pictures, videos, and your overall experience with growing Japanese maples or conifers. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.